I'm just very selective with who I show, like my theater kid side too.
So it's there, it comes
It's
out in certain
there.
situations.
Yeah.
And how does it manifest? What does that mean? Is that just like getting up and
It could be an impromptu
sure?
performance. It could be a time step here and there.
Okay. Could be
Yeah.
practicing a dance move when you walked in, a new one you just learned.
Wow, you just exposed me. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was practicing a dance move about 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, Sad, Confused begins now.
Hey guys, it's Josh. Welcome to another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. You're in for a treat today. We have Sadie Sink, one of our best young actors working today. This is a rare treat. She hasn't done, I think, a lot of long-form conversations, and I'm thrilled that she chose to spend her time with me promoting a whole lot of things, from her new film DESSA on Hulu, her new play coming to Broadway, John Proctor is the Villain, and of course the upcoming season of Stranger Things. So yes, that is the main event on today's Happy, Sad, Confused. Before we get to that, so many things to keep you guys abreast of in terms of Happy, Sad, Confused world. As always, if you want the rundown of everything going on, check out our Patreon. That's where all the discounts, the merch, the autographed posters, all the cool stuff is available. Patreon.com/happy, sad, confused. As always, my humble reminder to you is supporting us over there helps us make more cool stuff for you over here. So I appreciate you guys in advance for checking out the Patreon. If you so choose to join us, I guarantee you'll have a good time over there. In terms of stuff going on, there's a lot. Live events, let's run it down. March 20th, next week in New York City. It's Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane, I've been talking about this one for a while. Tickets have sold very well. We still have some left. Check it out. Big career conversation with the icon of theater and film. Then April 6th, I'm so excited to be going to Miami to honor Paul Feig. We're going to screen his new film, Another Simple Favor, early on the big screen, and then he's going to get an award from the Miami Film Festival, and I'm going to sit down with him for a live edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Very exciting. And then April 12th, big day in Chicago. If you're in Chicago and you go to C2E2, you're going to probably run into me because I'm doing a whole lot of stuff there, including a RoboCop reunion, a Once Upon a Time reunion, a John Boyega conversation, and the marquee big event, a reunion of The Breakfast Club. That's right, all the big stars of The Breakfast Club: Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson, Anthony Michael Hall, and Emilio Estevez, who really never does this kind of thing. So that's going to be a treat. All the information is in the show notes. Get your tickets now for all these events. It's going to be fun, and there's more to come. More to come. All right, so back to today's main event. Sadie Sink. Okay, Sadie Sink is 21, 22. She's so young, has already accomplished so much. Of course, most people came to know her thanks to her performance in Stranger Things, particularly in season 4, when she had that remarkable arc and repopularized Kate Bush for the masses. She's truly a great talent, I think, as evidenced by both Stranger Things, her performance in The Whale, and now has a lot going on. She has this crazy new movie called DESSA. It is kind of it's a rock opera, post-apocalyptic, big swing of a crazy movie, and she is front and center. She is singing her heart out in this. For those who don't know, she had her roots, Sadie did, singing on Broadway in Annie as a little kid, and now she's returned to singing in this, and she's exceptional in it. It's on Hulu March 20th. Also, March 20th, actually, same day, previews begin in New York City for her return to Broadway in a play, John Proctor is the Villain, which I'm very excited to see, and is a big moment for her. So caught her at this kind of big transitional moment as the play begins, as the movie comes out, and as we careen towards the end of Stranger Things. They've wrapped production, so of course we talk a lot about the end of Stranger Things too. So there was a lot to chat about. She's super sweet. I really enjoyed this long conversation with her. I think you guys will too. As always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. As I said, hit that check out that Patreon on patreon.com/happysadconfused, and come on out and see me in person one of these days, because we have a good time when we do these in person. All right, here it is. Me and Sadie Sink. Enjoy. Sadie, are you ready to be podcasted?
Yes.
We're doing this.
Wow. Nice.
Congratulations. You have a lot going on, so I more than appreciate the time, because you really should be rehearsing right now. Let's be real.
I really should be. I have like some serious FOMO today.
What portion of your brain is at the rehearsal stage with your buddies for, this is going to be your return to Broadway. We'll get to that in a sec, but what portion of your brain is over there right now?
I'm trying to compartmentalize a bit and just focus on
I'm ruining
DESSA today. But no, every once in a while, like during the break, I'm like, oh, why am I not at the theater right now? We just moved in yesterday.
Oh, that's a big transition point.
So it's super exciting.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get there. But congratulations on DESSA.
Thank you.
I want to start by egregiously name dropping, but it's for a good cause.
Okay.
I texted Winona yesterday, and I said I was gonna talk to you. There were a lot of exclamation points. There was a lot of big hearts. She loves you.
I love her. She's the best.
She is the best.
You also did that was a big flex.
Well, it's my proudest achievement, honestly, in my career that I know Winona Ryder.
She's so awesome.
So what does it mean to have someone like Winona in your corner? She wrote an amazing, do you want to be embarrassed and have me read the Time magazine thing she wrote about you a couple years back?
Okay.
Okay, let's just get it out of the way.
Yes.
Blush if you have to.
I will.
This is Winona on Sadie Sink. I distinctly remember the first time I saw Sadie Sink. It was on the great show The Americans. Although brief, it was a stunning moment and a rare one. I wrote her name down in my notebook. I knew that this was someone extraordinary, someone to watch. So when the planets aligned and she came on to Stranger Things, it felt like a little secret victory. Her Max is full of such exquisite detail, fierce, complicated, and so incredibly strong. At the root of that strength is her absolute willingness to be completely vulnerable.
It's very sweet. Yeah, it's so surreal she's like a hero of mine. So to have a relationship with her and also to have her say such kind things, it's very surreal. But I don't remember, she never told me that she had seen me on The Americans when I was little. So I think I remember reading that and being like, what is she talking about?
She's watching closely.
Yeah, she is.
You registered. And now you have an unusual kind of connection in that you are doing this play very soon.
Yes.
That has a connection to The Crucible. That she, of course, did the wonderful film adaptation. Did you talk to her about that at all? Have you compared notes?
I didn't get the chance to talk to her about that. But I recently rewatched her as Abigail in The Crucible. Such a great movie. And she's so amazing in it. Yeah. I wish I would have gotten to tell her a little bit about it, but hopefully she'll come and see it, and I think she'll like it.
She did say she's excited to come see you.
Okay, good.
Are you going to be nervous? Do you like to know who's in the audience?
I don't really know yet. I guess we'll have a trial and error and see if
But you've done this before, but
I was so young,
right,
though.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I would. I don't know. It depends who's coming. Okay. I guess.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's get into a little DESSA, and then we'll circle around to a lot of other things. But so you just came from South by. Mm-hmm. First South by, or no?
First South by, yeah.
How was the experience? You were in and out, but that's a cool festival. There's a lot of good vibes.
It's really cool. There's a lot going on because it's music too and film. Yeah, it's really cool. I was born in Texas too, so grew up going to Austin.
Right.
So it was good to be back in that city.
Yeah. Is friends and family come out? Texas is a rather large state, so I don't know if where you were born is pretty far from Austin or not.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours away.
Okay.
So, and I wasn't there for long enough to see anyone, but my mom came with me.
Nice.
Which was so nice because she hasn't really gotten to come to a lot of events with me since I turned 18. But yeah, it was good to have her there.
Do you get nervous seeing your own work when you know friends or family are in the theater?
Yes. Yeah, she had seen the movie before.
Okay.
I took her to see it. She was super excited about this one because she loves it when I sing. So this is like her ultimate dream. But yeah, I sat through it with her again at South by because she wanted to see it again.
Amazing. So okay, talk to me. This is a hard one to explain because no one makes movies like this. This is a crazy movie in the best possible way. Congratulations for just like getting this done, making this thing.
Yeah.
It's a big swing. I always love big swings. Did you first encounter this just reading it? And like, how does it read? Because it is such a visual, oral experience. I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I was familiar with Jeremy's work because I love patty cake so
Great movie.
much.
Yeah.
And then the script was sent to me, and I read the script before I listened to some of the demos that somehow I got my hands on. I wasn't supposed to be sent the demos, but I was, and got like a sneak peek at them. But I read the script, and it is so ambitious and wild. But for some reason, when I was reading it, I saw it, and like seeing the mood board and everything, and just kind of getting into Jeremy's head. Yeah, something clicked for me. Or even just the tagline itself being like post-apocalyptic rock opera.
Yeah. You're either going to go for that, or you're going to run away from it. You're either going to run to it or run away.
Let's do it. Like, they're actually making this? Like, okay, yeah.
So what are the kind of inspirations or things you talk to Jeremy or in the mood board? I'm curious, like, I don't know, are other films referenced, or are there media referenced, or?
Yeah, there wasn't actually any specific thing referenced that I can remember, but I remember, like, looking at it and being like, oh, this is very, like, Mad Max. Right. Like, Blade Runner meets Romeo and Juliet, right. Stuff like that. So this is very interesting.
Rocky Horror thrown in.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, and she sings, and I don't know. But yeah, once I talked to Jeremy a little bit more, he kind of gave me some of his musical references, and we kind of started to craft ODESSA. And so we looked at a lot of like old Bob Dylan interviews or Tom Waits interviews and PJ Harvey performing, and just like pulled bits and pieces from them. Yeah. And yeah. And then
how it became ODESSA.
It became ODESSA.
So where were you at? Give me the timeline of where you were at, like in terms of the Stranger Things of it all, which obviously takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Somehow, I mean, it's a kind of a miracle all you guys have found so many great opportunities in between Stranger Things, because it's a time suck in the best possible way. So was this between 4 and 5, or?
This was between 4 and 5.
Okay.
Right before the strike, too. It was like that summer leading up to that. And I think it was always the plan that I would go straight from ODESSA to Stranger Things. But then, yeah, the strike happened. So, right. Yeah.
And coming off of 4, obviously, I mean, 4, huge season for you. And not only that, but I would imagine gives you more standing in terms of kind of the parts that you're presented with. So was this kind of like this does seem like a transition point where like you get to be the lead. Like this movie doesn't happen, frankly, without you in the lead. Maybe they can find someone else, but
right.
It's a short list of young actors that can get something like this green lit.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, having season 4 definitely helped, but it was like a huge learning curve for me to just be on set every day and like lead a film, and how do you do that as a 22-year-old young actress? But I definitely was like willing to take that on, yeah. Especially for something like this where it's so fun. So yeah, I think it was good timing, and it felt like the right move to do, the right challenge right. to accept.
And you're shooting this in Croatia, by the way.
Yes. So
I would imagine family isn't necessarily with you, friends aren't necessarily with
no.
you. So like, in a way, and I remember we talked about The Whale at the time, and you talked a little bit about like, in some ways the advantage of The Whale too was kind of like being on your own. It kind of like helped with the character.
Right.
And I would imagine in a different way, this focuses you up. You're there for a reason. Like you don't have distractions. You're like on your own.
Oh yeah, you had to kind of lock in, which was good. Yeah, and we weren't like, when they said Croatia, I was kind of imagining like a beautiful coastline and like
right.
summer in Croatia, but we were in Zagreb, which is not the coast.
You learned your lesson.
I was like, oh, okay. But that was good because that's what this universe that we were building kind of
right.
needed that, because it was like, where am I?
Right.
But yeah, definitely isolating. But I think I also work best under that kind of isolation.
Yeah. So obviously one of the most exciting aspects of this is to hear you sing and sing so well. You like nail this. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And I found this really interesting in going back. Like, again, you have a lot of history on stage, singing as a much younger person, Annie on Broadway, and you had some interesting things to say in another interview about singing way back when, because you talked about having panic attacks
mm-hmm.
when you were a kid, and saying that, I think the quote was, "Singing became the worst thing ever. I was terrified by it," and that you essentially kind of gave it up.
Yeah.
As a kid. So, I mean, for a number of reasons then, this is a huge moment, I would imagine. Had you been, I don't know, like how did you get to the place where you were ready to kind of like go back and really jump headfirst into something like this?
I was really nervous and like apprehensive about it at first. But something about like the songs and it being completely original, I think that was intriguing to me and like felt safer that I would really be able to just kind of like find Odessa's voice and do it through that and disassociate a little bit.
Sure.
But so I think my first like audition for it was I was kind of unprompted, but I just like took a video of myself playing one of the songs and singing it, and sent it to Jeremy. And I remember sending that and being like, oh God, like, why did I do that? Like, I don't know if I'm actually ready to do this or ready to take this on. But I think like it being, like I said, it being new, having time in the studio beforehand and time with my vocal coach, who's amazing. His name's Chris York. He really helped me become comfortable in my voice. And I got to like shift gears a little bit in terms of my relationship with singing. I'm not ready to perform live anytime soon. I have no desire to do that, but
under the right circumstances, the right prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through a character too, I think that just like freed me up, where it's like, it's not really me, it's my voice, but I don't know if you'll see me singing again anytime soon. I'm like, all right, there you go.
We're not gonna be greedy.
That's what you get.
On your own time. I mean, not to go back to what was a difficult time, but that's really telling. I mean, that must have been a moment when you're a kid.
Yeah.
In this wonderful, huge moment to go through that. Like, did panic attacks, was that kind of like a one-off, or did that kind of continue in different ways throughout your life after that experience?
It really was kind of like just with singing. And after that happened, like the first couple of times, it just became every single time I would sing in public, it felt really horrible and that panic would rise up again. And so as like a young kid, naturally, I'm just gonna avoid that situation at all costs. So I would sing like if I was with groups of people or around my family, but I really just kind of like wrote that off as part of like my skill set because it wasn't something I wanted to share anymore. But it continued to be like such a huge part of my life, and I love to sing. Sharing it is another story, but I'm happy that I was able to do it for this at least once.
You did pop up. I had a great conversation with Maya Hawke recently. She loves you also.
I love Maya.
And you obviously ended up on her album singing some backup
vocals.
vocals.
Yeah, I did. Wow.
So how did that happen? Is that just like friends hanging out being like, hey, you want to help out?
Maya and I, like, we were roommates for like most of Stranger Things. So we're very close, and she's one of the few people that had heard me sing a little bit. And when she was recording her album, she was like, oh, are you in the city? Like, come stop by the studio and do harmonies if you want. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. And I had also been recording for Odessa too, like, so I was used to that.
You were in that headspace, yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I love listening to those songs, and I love singing with Maya.
Not a backup yet on the Taylor Swift records, though.
No.
Just an actor for hire for Taylor, as of now.
Right. Yeah.
Since that relationship, do you at least get like VIP treatment at the concerts? Did you go see her last tour?
Oh, I got to see her at her last stop in LA, like for the first leg of her tour.
Yeah.
But it was before her last album came out. So I didn't get to see all the new stuff she added. But I mean, did you get to see it?
I did. I'm not in person.
You didn't
sadly.
get to see it?
No, I feel left out of the pop culture zeitgeist. I mean, I've seen the film and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's intense. Jeez. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it was 3 hours. Yeah. She's insane. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's next level. Okay, so since we have the luxury of time, let's go back even further back before the Annie years, etc. Growing up in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like one of your brothers you share like a love of the arts with, right? Were your parents surprised by like these two kids that seemed kind of like different than the rest, different than them in terms of love of the arts? Like, did you fit in or?
Yeah. If they were surprised, they didn't show it. They just kind of like...
They went with the flow?
Yeah, they went with the flow. And I mean, our house was always so crazy. I'm one of 5 kids.
Right.
So everyone was always doing something different. And for Mitchell and I, it was just like creating characters and skits and stuff and doing what, like, playing make-believe as all kids do, but just kind of taking it to like another level at some points.
It's interesting because you don't read to me as like big theater kid energy. I've talked to a lot of actors that were theater kids that like it never goes away and it's like they are on. And clearly you have that side of you, but you're suppressing it for me and most of the world. It's like were you, it sounds like you did have theater kid energy as a kid.
Big time. I was like insufferable. But yeah, just like always singing and just obsessed with musical theater. And yeah, that didn't go anywhere. But no, I'm just very selective with who I show like my theater kid side to.
So it's there, it comes out in certain situations.
Yeah.
And how does it manifest? What does that mean? Is that just like getting up and...
It could be an impromptu performance.
Sure.
It could be a time step here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Practicing a dance move when you walked in, a new one you just learned.
Wow, you just exposed me. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was practicing a dance move about 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
Was Wicked a big one? I mean, Wicked is now the world's, but...
Wicked is everything.
It was, it
yes.
is.
It was, it is, it always will be. That was kind of like what Mitchell and I would obsess over when we still lived in Texas.
Yeah.
We would just watch like Tony performances and all the different bootlegs. Like we loved like Ali Mazi's Glinda and Megan Hilty's Glinda, and we just compare all of them and like
Let's debate the pros and
Jackie
cons of
Burns, Alphaba, and yeah.
How many times have you seen the film?
I've seen the film 3 times.
Okay. Not...
3 times.
Won't be the last though.
No. There will be more.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Were you more of a Glinda or Alphabet? Did you ever perform a version?
As a child, I was an Alphaba. Well, we kind of like went back and forth, Mitchell and I, between like who we would play.
Yeah. It's like True West. You switch parts every few weeks.
Yeah, it depended on his mood. Like if he was like, okay, no, you need to be Glinda for this song, or for like if it was what is this feeling? I think he was Glinda, I was Alphaba. Right. And then also with Defying Gravity. But then other times, I don't know, just change.
Somewhere in the Sink family vault, there is footage, I would imagine. Of
there's footage. There's footage.
Yeah.
Not of Wicked. I couldn't find any Wicked. But there's definitely some footage.
You're like, after this, I need to make sure it is locked up.
Yeah, I'm like, where is it?
It needs to be secured. Secure facility. When do you move? And does the family come with you as a kid? Like, because that's a big moment to like come to, I think, Jersey, right? You guys moved to Jersey at first?
Yes. Well, basically, like when Mitchell and we had booked Broadway shows, he was in Matilda, I was in Annie. He also did Elf the musical. So we both were just kind of working.
Yeah.
And the contracts kept on like extending. So my mom and my little sister, who was probably like 2 at the time, they were always with us.
Got it.
And we did that for like a year where my like family, the rest of my family was in Texas and would come and visit, but like we were just in New York.
Yeah.
And then after that year or so, it was decided that we would just move. And my dad just kind of like looked around for jobs. He's a teacher.
Right.
Found one at this town in New Jersey, and we kind of settled down there, and now my family's still there.
So I would imagine, like, in retrospect, maybe as a kid it does or doesn't register, but like, I mean, the sacrifice and the big leap that your family as a whole took for you and Mitchell.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
It's huge. And it was never with the intention of like, oh, this is going to go somewhere and they're going to be like, right. Like, it was just kind of like, I guess this is what we do.
Right.
And I think I come from a big sports family too.
Right.
So it was like that kind of mentality of like, oh, like, yeah, your child is doing well, then like, yeah, you support them and want them on like the best team possible, like the best fit.
Right.
I'm like really embarrassed that I made like the sports analogy.
It's
that
in
my
your
mom
blood. You can't help it. You can't. There were some Friday Night Lights vibes or something I felt in the childhood, I would imagine.
Totally. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so jumping ahead a little bit, so we're gonna jump all the way to Stranger Things, but I guess before Stranger Things happens, like where were you at? Like, so you're coming off of theater. Mm-hmm. What were you? I don't know, were you going for a certain kind of role repeatedly in television and film?
No, I mean, I just kind of remember like auditioning here and there. After I finished the second Broadway show that I did, it was like 13, I think. So I went to 8th grade and then pretty much all of 8th grade and would just audition for things here and there, but honestly just loved being in school and having that experience because I hadn't had that in a while.
Right.
But then, yeah, I would send in self-tapes for things and like do like commercials here and there, like a movie or whatever. And then Stranger Things came along and I was like, okay. Yeah, it feels right.
Do you remember the moment you got it? Like they actually officially told you, of course, and that's a moment.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. It was just like complete shock.
Phone call, Zoom?
Phone call from Matt and Ross, yeah.
Crying, mom, everybody, like...
No crying from me, just like a big smile and yeah. But my brother did cry, Mitchell did cry.
I mean, knowing your life is changing, but even in retrospect, you probably couldn't intellectualize how much your life was going to change from that.
No. I knew it was a big deal, but I was mostly just kind of excited to like be able to work on something for that long and like know that like, oh, I get to act with these people, this cast who like they all seem so amazing, and that was the most exciting part. But and then obviously like, whoa, I get to act more. Like this is really good for my career. Yeah. But definitely a big realization to have at 14.
And how quickly does, because you joined season 2, the excitement of joining, and then the first couple days I would imagine, or weeks or months, I don't even know how long it takes to kind of like, this is new. This is like the scale is gigantic.
Yeah.
These folks know each other. They're lovely, but they do know each other. They have that vibe. I don't know, like when do you kind of like feel part of the family?
I mean, I immediately felt like so welcomed by the cast. Yeah. I worked mostly with like the boys in season 2, and they just like, they made me feel so at home, and like they genuinely like wanted me there. Still, I think there was that like new kid mentality that I would always have, but never in regards to like my friendships with them. Like that was always so solid and like one of the best parts of being on Stranger Things. And then, but just kind of like finding like my character's place in the show and wondering like, oh, do people like her? Or is this going to be received well? Am I going to be like welcomed by the fandom? That was kind of maybe the like trickier area to navigate.
And then, I mean, a wonderful shock by the time season 4 happens. I mean, you have this amazing season, like this, that doesn't happen, as you well know.
No.
It's a huge ensemble, and what the Duffers are able to do to serve all of them so well is amazing. But again, a newish character coming in season 2. I don't know. Did they kind of like sit you down and talk about season 4? Like, did you realize kind of like how special that season could potentially be for Max and you?
I was like, I had gotten some hints as to where season 4 was going from the Duffers. And I was just like really like, I was game for it, I guess. And then never really realized like the full scope of it until seeing it and seeing how people responded to it. At the time, it was just like, oh, awesome. Like, this is such a great plot line. And this is, I don't know.
Do you remember the first time you saw, like, for instance, episode 4 and see the music, seeing Running Up That Hill and singing the effects and seeing it all together? That's a goosebump moment for anybody that's already become like an all-timer television moment, see that episode of television. Do you distinctly remember seeing like that and registering like, oh, whether I'm in it or not, this is really well done. This is good.
It was so well done. I remember finally seeing it. I watched it with my family just at home, and everyone was kind of just like, my whole family was just like speechless, and they were like, whoa. And for me, I was like, whoa, too, like, this is so cool. But also everything in that sequence was shot like months apart, like, and so scattered throughout the year. So seeing it all come together in that one episode, I was like, oh, I don't know how, like, I don't even remember filming that part, or that looks like this. And that's always the exciting part about Stranger Things too, is like when all the pieces come together, you're like, oh, right, this is the show that we're doing. Right. This is what it looks like.
So does life change after that in combination with The Whale? Because again, this also coincides, obviously, timeline-wise, with a very strange time in history where like a lot of this is lockdown, COVID era. So like your kind of like ascent through celebrity kind of coincides with, a lot of times where people aren't out and about too much.
Yeah.
So kind of, I don't know, like when when was the transition point for you that you kind of felt like, oh, there's a lot more, I feel eyes on me more in day-to-day life?
I don't know. I mean, ever since I was got on Stranger Things, there was always that element to it. But I guess it was when like the whale happened and season 4, it like felt like, oh, maybe there's stuff beyond the show too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really felt like that much of a shift, or if I did, it just wasn't.
Right.
I don't know.
This
it
is
happened
good.
slowly and like, yeah. It
That
wasn't
means your
ever
head's
scary.
in the game. You're
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you have like so I had a really interesting, again, with Maya, this interesting conversation that kind of, it went everywhere because I think it really resonated with people, where she talked very openly about how like casting, for instance, sadly is often influenced by someone's Instagram followers, and like, right? And I think that caught people off the guard, but that's like a reality. And I would imagine for you as, you know, a young woman, like there must be a push-pull in terms of like social media. Like every peer of yours lives and breathes on Instagram and TikTok.
Right.
And for you though, it's a little bit, there's something different about interacting and engaging with social media.
Yeah.
I guess just give me a sense of sort of like, I don't know, where you sit with navigating that world.
I would say like I'm pretty proud of like the balance that I have with it.
Yeah.
And it took a while to figure out, but yeah, having kind of, I don't know, that influx of attention and like followers at that young age, it was maybe like a bit jarring for me.
Yeah.
So I kind of like had a bit of a wall up with social media, which I think is like a healthy place to be.
Yeah.
And then now I'm at a point where it's like I won't have the app on my phone,
Right.
but then when I need to post something or see what like fans are saying, and then I'll download it.
Yeah.
But it's not like an everyday thing, which I think is good.
Does that feel like, I mean, again, it's like, I don't know. I'm not advocating that you get on the app. Don't get on the app. I don't know anyone said if I could get off of it, I would too. But like, I don't know, like, again, in your peer group, I would imagine everybody you know is kind of more in their phones than you are then.
I don't know.
Or no, give me hope. Are they not? That's great.
No, not like, I'm thinking about the people I'm around now, and
Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I also don't know. I can't say like, because I don't know what they're posting.
Right.
So I don't.
And have you felt like what Maya's felt? Like, do you even hear that about kind of like, oh, a certain number of followers equates this in the industry? Like, is there that unspoken or spoken thing that you are aware of advancing a career
honestly,
through? Yeah.
No.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
No. I'm not. I think it definitely is a thing. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
But like, it's just not something I find important, because I don't think it should be important.
Right. Don't give it the
No.
space. No, I hear you. Okay, well, back to Stranger Things. Here's the uncomfortable part where we talk about season 5 and you say nothing, but just overall experiences. I mean, because now that you guys have wrapped and we're starting to talk to all the actors, we're hearing a little bit of sort of just what it was. I mean, again, it's a long shoot.
Yeah.
So like, did emotion build throughout? Because I remember talking to Millie like early on, and she's like, I'm not emotional yet. I know I'll get there.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the vibe, that it kind of like the emotion kind of built into the last couple weeks?
It did. I think it was a hard season to shoot.
Yeah.
And like our crew like just worked so hard every single day. Us as actors, like we're not there every day, but the crew was for that entire year. And like with that and with the material that we're working with, when it's such a big show, it's like, yeah, you go up and down between your emotions just kind of shift a lot. But definitely we were all on the same page in that like final push in the last month where it's like, this is hard, this has been a tough year, but oh my God, I don't want it to end.
So like, what are the emotional points for you? Because I would imagine there's like, it's the final table read, it's the final day, it's
Right.
Sadie getting wrapped, it's the wrap party. It's like you have these series of goodbyes, and then you're gonna have another 4 months of press when we see each other.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think I was definitely just like very numb to it at first. And then the table read hit. And I was just like, I was crying after that, crying that morning with Maya in the car. And like, we're like, what's going on? What's happening? Why is it just hitting in this moment? But I think something about like knowing what the end was and seeing like end series on the script was so much. But then we were fine after, because we had like months to go.
Right.
And then the final day happened, and it was like, oh,
This is going to be messy. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's difficult for sure.
Is there anybody you're excited for in terms of like, again, we're not going to say specifics, but like a fellow actor that we're going to get to see shine in this season?
I mean, honestly, just, it's hard to like, I think everyone did such an incredible job, like truly. And I think the overall thing I'll say is just, I think this is the season where you really get to see all of the, you know, former child actors as adult actors. And the Duffers have always done a great job of like meeting us where we're at. And with the material and just how much everyone has grown as performers on this, in this cast. There's some really like amazing performances and arcs, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm so proud of everyone. I
do hope they show like the last episode or two on the big screen so we can see it.
Me too, right?
I mean, I can only imagine the last couple seasons, it's just the production value goes up and up, and it's film quality. So
they should at least do like some screenings of it or something.
Yes.
Come on, it's been 10 years.
We talked a little bit about this, but let's come back to the play, because that's where 25% of your brain is right now.
Yes.
And I'm going to release the other 75% soon, I promise. John Proctor is the villain. This is, so it's a new play. It's not been mounted on Broadway, at least, yes?
Not on Broadway,
right.
No.
So was this just kind of like on the list, like, okay, it's time. I want to get back on the stage, and then you found this, or this material came? Like, how did this one come around?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always like talked about like, wanting to do a play after the 5th season ended. But I wasn't sure which one, and it wasn't like I was like actively on the hunt for a play. But this one just kind of was sent to me by my agents, and Kimberly Bellflower is the playwright, who's incredible. And I tore through it. I felt like I'd never really read a play like it before that like so accurately depicted teenagers or, you know, Gen Z.
Right.
And while also just like integrating these amazing, like really profound themes. And it just felt right. Like the character felt right. And I was so excited. But that was like 2 years ago when I read it.
Okay.
And so there was definitely moments of like, is this ever going to happen? Like we did a workshop of it and it went amazing, and hearing it out loud, it just kind of solidified that need to do it again and bring it to Broadway, hopefully, or wherever. But yeah, it takes a lot to get a Broadway show up. And
so I hear.
Yeah, but we found a home at the Booth Theater, which is insane.
Amazing. And
yeah, like I was saying, we just moved in yesterday.
So funny. It's a comedy.
Yes, it is funny.
That's going to be fun to experience that kind of energy on a stage.
Yeah, I've never really had to tap into that before. It's a comedy, but then, you know, it's many other things as well, but it is very funny.
So it takes place in the wake of the Me Too movement, as I understand it, and students that are kind of like recontextualizing, oh wait, is the Crucible, is John Proctor necessarily a good guy? Well, which I'm a little sad, because I do love the Crucible. It might be my favorite play, so you might be ruining the Crucible for me.
No, not ruining it though. Okay. Just like encouraging people to dig deeper and see something beyond the traditional, I don't know, idea of the show or what, you know, is traditionally taught in schools. So it'll make you love it even more.
Okay, perfect. And so, yeah, the last time you were on stage, I think, was that the play with Helen Mirren way back when?
Yeah.
So back then they were coming to see Helen. Not to get you too like anxiety ridden. A lot of people are going to be coming to see you, Sadie.
Which is crazy. It's insane. I like the theater. We were at the Schoenfeld for the audience, which is like 2 doors down from the Booth Theater.
Yeah.
So it's just insane to see like my name on a marquee. Like that's been like the biggest pinch me moment that I've had in like my whole career, honestly.
Totally. Okay. So I do want to mention a little bit more about The Whale before we wrap up, because that movie wrecks me. If you have a heart or soul, it wrecks you. Did that feel, I mean, let's look just like the end sequence, which I know you shot, I think, over 3 days.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you run out of tears at a certain point? Like, that is such an emotional sequence. It's as emotional sequence as I can recall in the last 10 years of cinema. How do you kind of like stay in that moment for as long as you have to.
It was a lot. It really was a lot. I was definitely like, leading up to it, I was questioning whether I could even do that. Like I'd never had to sustain that kind of emotion over so many days. But at that point, like it felt so earned for the character.
Yeah.
And
did you shoot rather like in sequence? Like were you kind of like, or was that?
Yeah, we shot in sequence,
Oh,
but
that's
like we
good.
just kind of like moved through the angles, moved through the scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, that emotional stamina from Brendan, also seeing that, he was super like encouraging and like just feeding off of that was so helpful. I mean, he gave such an incredible performance.
It must have been also moving to go through that whole experience in the wake of it, like to sit at Venice next to him.
Yeah.
When the world kind of is like, we love you, Brendan. We've always loved you.
It's the best. Yeah. He's so amazing, so kind, and just genuinely that, you know, which is so rare to see. And I just, yeah, working with him, it's like going to be one of the highlights of my career for forever.
All right, so looking ahead after John Proctor, if the internet is to be believed, you are already Jean Grey in X-Men. I'm sure people have been asking you about this.
Yes.
If I'm a betting man, should I put any money on this? Where are we at, Sadie?
I mean, this is news to me.
Is it news to you?
This is news to me.
Really?
Yes.
You never talked to a Kevin Feige or a Marvel person about this character?
No, I can't. No, I have nothing to say about this. The rumors are really cool, though.
It's a nice rumor.
It's an awesome rumor.
Do you know you I assume know that character.
Yeah, I know the character, yeah.
It's a good character.
It's a great character, so it was cool to read.
Does the idea, if something like that or something similar to that, I mean, that's a commitment also. Like you sign on to be Jean Grey in X-Men, you're on and off the next 10 years of your life, you're doing that.
Exactly.
Is that a consideration? Is that something that's intriguing, exciting for you at this juncture in your career?
Yeah, I think that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a vibe going, and then suddenly it's interesting. I don't know. It's just interesting. All I'm going to say is I'm going to go back to this tape, and then I'm going to decide if we're friends or not based on if you're lying to me.
We are friends.
Okay. So in terms of just general criteria going forward, what are you looking for? Like, okay, you're going to be committed to this for a while on stage. That's where your head's at.
Yeah.
But like, again, you're spoiled by the Duffers for over a series of years. You're spoiled by Darren Aronofsky. Something like Odessa, this kind of audacious piece of filmmaking. I don't know, like, are you looking for filmmakers, for actors, for genre? Like, what's Team Sink looking at and around?
Ooh, I think what's interesting to me is kind of like building something from the ground up, whether that's like a series or a movie. I think that's interesting to me, like starting at like the very early stages of something. But I'm very like story character driven.
Yeah.
And love working with new filmmakers, but as long as it's like a story that I love and a character that I resonate with or a character that's different than what I've tried before, I think that's the way to go. Because also, like, I'm so young, I still have so much to learn. And the more I can kind of like stretch and find new like ground to cover as a performer, I think it's the better.
Were there any films or performances in the last year or two that really like inspired you, that kind of?
Kate Blanchett and Tar, like,
That's maybe,
I just love her. I think like she's
that movie sticks with you. It's mesmerizing.
But as far as like that, it's just like a strong female performance. Like, I was really
shared space with Kate Blanchett.
I have shared space. I've shared space.
Are you able to suppress or kind of fangirl? Like, what's?
I think I just have such like respect for her.
Yeah.
So,
I just saw she's in the new Steven Soderbergh movie. Excellent. Her and Michael Fassbender. Come on. Ooh. Black Bag. Put it on your list.
Okay.
They're both very good.
I mean, anything Kate does, sign me up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap with this. It's the happy, sad, confused, profoundly random questions, Sadie. Are you ready for this? This is the tough stuff.
Okay.
I thought the X-Men thing was tough. This is much tougher.
Okay.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
No.
You don't have to get rid of one species.
Okay, dogs. Dogs.
Do you have both? You have. I know you have a rather large dog.
Yes, my family dog.
Family dog.
Yeah, but I raised her. But yeah, Nora. She's great.
What kind of dog is she?
She's in Newfoundland.
My dog is down the block. I'll bring her
Really?
over. She's amazing, Lucy. She's the sweetest thing. What do you collect?
What do I collect?
Yeah. What are you hoarding secretly? What are you ashamed of? No, you don't have to be ashamed. It's not.
Notebooks.
Okay.
Notebooks that I don't even write in. But anytime I see a cute notebook, I will buy it. And so yeah, I collect a lot of notebooks.
Are you a journaler?
I do journal a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm buying so much, like I can't keep
up.
up.
The volume, not enough is happening in my life.
I know, more stuff needs to happen.
Are they tied to like experiences? Like, is there like the ODESSA
Yes,
volumes?
yeah. It depends. Like, there's a different notebook for like every year or a chapter of my life, and then whenever like the winds shift, then I'll like get a new notebook, I guess. But yeah, I do have an ODESSA one. I have it like dates back to like season 3 of Stranger Things, I think.
Wow.
So yeah.
And now you're in the John Proctor one, I assume.
I am.
Yeah.
It's striped.
Making a bold choice.
It's got stripes on it.
Okay,
That's new.
that's an exclusive. Thank you. Do you have a favorite video game of all time?
Ooh, I like. I'm going between like Mario Kart.
For the record, this is the longest you've taken to answer a question.
I know,
this is the most important one.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
I'm gonna go with.
It's okay.
I'm gonna go with Smash Bros.
Yep, that's a popular one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is,
classic.
Yeah.
What's the wallpaper on your phone?
It's a picture of me and my brother when we were like very little.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Performing or just?
No,
hanging?
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Last actor you were mistaken for?
Oh, this is really funny.
Yeah.
We my cast went to go see The Outsiders because Danya Taymor directed it. And then as we were leaving the theater, someone stopped me and like wanted a picture. I was like, oh yeah, so he took a picture and then goes, you were so good. So I don't know who she thought I was in The Outsiders cast, but I was like, thank you.
Just accept the
I was
compliment.
flattered
When in
though.
doubt.
I'm like,
Yeah, that was good. That was amazing.
That was really great.
Killed it, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst note a director has ever given you?
Oh, anytime it's like, can you just like be like more sad or something? Like anything like really generic like that, or like maybe. But not even that it's a bad note. It's just like, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Amp up the sadness.
But like when you give a note like that too, it's like bad, but it's like,
Okay, and in the spirit of happy, sad, confused, an actor who always makes you happy, you see them on screen, you're immediately in a better mood.
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
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 Anything she does, like, it's like her comedy it gets me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Movie that makes you sad?
Oh, I watched Lion on a plane recently.
Yeah.
And I cried a lot.
Yeah,
I cried a lot.
Yeah.
But that's the most recent movie that made me very, very sad.
Planes also.
It's the plane that really got me.
I mean, it's a sad movie. It's a good movie, a sad movie. But yeah, I've said this before when asking this question. It's Terms of Endearment. I made the mistake of watching
Terms of Endearment
on a plane, and it was just like
you knew what you were signing up for.
Almost brought down the plane with my tears.
That's like almost too sad for me.
It's a lot. Every time the music kicks in, it's too much. And finally, a food that makes you confused.
Food that makes me confused.
You don't get it.
Certain kinds of. You know what? This is really specific. I've never tried it.
Okay.
Buffalo like chicken pizza. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Of course, yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
So is it the combo? It's like, have you had buffalo chicken and just not on a pizza? No, see, so if you have a buffalo chicken problem.
Well, buffalo like cauliflower.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you.
But I know what that flavor is. But like, on a pizza, it's too many things.
It's a lot of things.
Anything that's
Keep it simple.
Exactly.
That's Sadie Sink's advice for the day. Okay, that's the task for the fans of Sadie Sink. See ODESSA, get your tickets to John Proctor is the Villain, and enjoy your pizza. Just don't muck it up with buffalo chicken.
Yeah, responsibly.
Enjoy your pizza responsibly.
Yeah.
That's our PSA for the day.
And drink responsibly.
Except while we're at it.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm very excited for this film. On the 20th, I think the same day you start the previews.
You're right.
It just hit you?
It just hit me.
Big day, March 20th.
Right, choose one.
See both. It's a busy day. It's a lot of Sadie in one day.
Do a double screening.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to celebrate. I am going to come to your play. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the film and the play and everything going on.
Thank you so much.
And so ends another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.